Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World. And today I'm bringing you guys a video that I've been wanting to bring you for quite a while now. This was supposed to be a follow-up back to my video of how to use front flippers, or Front Flippers 101. I can't remember the title of it, but I made it kind of late last year in the fall at some time, and I wanted to follow it up with a list of my favorite front flippers. At that point, though, I knew I was getting a couple other ones in that I was almost positive I was really going to like, and I did like them, so I had to have them on this list, so I wanted to wait for that. Now I've got them. I'm good to go. Today we're talking the top 15 best front flippers of all time, in my opinion, my favorites. Really looking forward to bringing these to you guys, and I think you'll enjoy them just as much as I do. I've got some on I've got some here on this list that you don't see a whole lot on the channel, so I think you're gonna enjoy seeing those. And before we get into it, let me thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I'm gonna continue to bring you guys the content. Now, with that being said, let's get right into it, because these lists of mine, I tend to ramble on, and I'm trying to keep them under a half hour, because I don't want to, everyone kind of has their limit of, enough is enough. So here we go. At number 15, we're going to start out with the damn Designs Oni. Now, this is a fun little one. It has a gnarly tanto. You can get them in titanium, G10, or S35VN and D2. This is S35VN. What I really like about this knife is just how small it is, and I don't say that about many knives, but when it gets to be this small, then you're talking fifth pocket carry. So it could be a second carry, and that's always really nice, and this fits in your fifth pocket extremely well. There's only one, maybe two other knives, one of them you're going to see later in this video, that I prefer over this for a front flipper fifth pocket carry. So you'll get to that here in a second, but this one here is pretty damned good. Just has very nice ergos for as small as it is. Really just a 2, maybe 2.5 finger grip, but it feels great in the hand. I love the blade shape, and again, it's a frame lock. You don't see a whole lot of frame locks this small, and this is a nice one. You got good centering, good lockup, and really good action, and a good sound too with that titanium. Just a really fun one. You can check Damn Designs out on their website. They don't sell a whole lot outside of their website, so that's where you're going to want to get them. They also have a new model called the Gin, which is a drop point version of this, coming out here relatively soon. I don't know if pre-orders are still open or not, but check out their website. You can find those at damndesigns.com. But this is a great one. The only reason it's not high up on the list is because it's so small. When you're talking knives this small, it's never going to be a primary carry. But as far as the subject video today of front flippers, it is a good one. It's just, it's very different, it's unique, and it feels very good in the hand. That's the Damn Designs Oni. And next up, gonna get into that Civivi world. You guys knew there was some coming. Civivi's got some pretty good front flippers, and this one is no exception. This is the Civivi Exarch. This is also a pretty good gentleman/office carry. I unfortunately did not have this available at the time I made my video of my best gentleman/office carries. This definitely would have been in it had I had it. A little disappointed. I actually kind of forgot about it, or I would have waited to film the video. But it is a really, really good one. I don't necessarily love the laminated carbon fiber. I'd almost just prefer it be G10. But this is one of the few models to where it actually does kind of look okay with the Damascus. It passes pretty well. It has a nice deep carry pocket clip. But more than anything, it has a very good front flipping action. Running on bearings, you can do the reach around very, very easily. And you can also do the regular traditional thumb front flick and front flip, and it just feels very good. This is a knife that actually is smoothed up pretty well since I've had it too. Little stiff out of the box, which is something I don't say for a lot of Civivis, but it broke in very, very nicely, and it is a pretty popular carry for me. Love the blade shape, nice and simple, little drop point, and also very, very slicey with that hollow grind. Very, very useful for any type of regular, normal EDC use. And again, just a nice flashy one. The Damascus really does sit well. I honestly, I don't really love Damascus because you do lose a little strength and steel quality because you're mixing steels. But I will say, for just a general EDC carry, it is fun to switch up to sometimes. It just adds a nice little flair to your carry, and that's always pretty cool. That is the Civivi Exarch, one of two very, very good Civivi front flippers, and I'd highly recommend checking this one out. Next up, we have a slightly bigger knife, and one of the biggest knives on this video, and that is none other than the Real Steel Rokot. Darn, my goal was to get through this video without botching a front flip, but I'm not gonna re-record this over a botched front flip because there's just too many of them, and I can very well do it again. But this guy here is a rather beefy. I guess not beefy in thickness overall, but just feel in hand. This definitely has one of the most substantial grips to it. It has a very nice grip on the G10 here, and a very nice blade. Kind of a nice full-size 3.5-inch blade out of Boker N690. This is, as I said, from Real Steel, and Real Steel has a couple other good front flippers. They have a Metamorph, they have a Mini Morph that came out through Indiana Knives, exclusively through them. But this one is a budget offering I think is really, really good. It has some really nice kind of hidden jimping up here, so if you really wanted to get in and work closely with the knife, you could do that. But again, the front flipping action on this is pretty good. It's not the best, and it's not bad. What the thing with this is the front flipping area. It takes some getting used to, because you can do some things like the reach around rather well, even with a big blade. So that goes to prove just how smooth it is. But sometimes, especially behind the camera here, I have to really be careful because it's a big blade. It's going to knock my tripod. But more than anything, too, you got to make the full rotation. So you have to really pay a little more attention when you're deploying this one, because it is such a big blade, and the amount that your thumb has to travel around it can be a little tricky. But again, once you get used to it, it's really not that bad at all. Again, not the easiest, but it does take a little getting used to. A big plus to this knife is that it also has very nice thumb studs. And the reason I say that, even though the video is all about front flippers, is if you're looking for a first front flipper, I always highly recommend getting one with a second method of deployment. Whether it be a thumb cutout for, like a spidey hole, or thumb studs, anything, or a flipper. There are some that have flippers. A way for you to open the knife easily and reliably until you figure out how to properly front flip it. I think that's a really good thing. A lot of knives are doing that, and I really like that. Obviously, don't really have an issue with front flipping, so I like them just as much without them. But I think for the overall potential popularity and sale and profitability of the knife, I think it's a really good idea to have that second deployment method, which Real Steel put on this one. Overall, it's just a really nice full-size knife. You guys know I like a bigger blade, and there's not a whole lot of front flippers with a big blade like this, so I do like that a lot. This is the Real Steel Rokot, and you can still find it a lot of places. It's not a very hard knife to find, and I'd highly recommend checking it out because it's in my opinion, a very underrated one at that. The Real Steel Rokot. Next up, we are going to one that this knife kind of disappointed me, but I'm also keeping it as kind of a project knife. This is the Kizer Assassin. When I first got it, I was a little disappointed. It has horrible jimping up here that doesn't really grip my finger. One of the most important things on any front flipper is the quality of the jimping. It has to really bite your finger and bite your thumb so you can really, easily flip it. This has absolutely terrible jimping. It's more aesthetic jimping than functional jimping. So it can be a real pain trying to front flip this, but I love the design of this knife so much. I don't really like the speed holes that much, but what I see this knife is a project knife. I'd like to send this off to a modder at some point, maybe get some texturing on the scales, definitely get that jimping touched up there with a file or a Dremel or something to give it a lot more bite so it's a little easier to open. But I will say, I just love the looks of this knife. It's called the Assassin, and in all honesty, it kind of looks like an assassin. I mean, look at that. It looks like it means business. Just a really, really attractive blade. Again, if it didn't have the speed holes, I'd love the handle in general, but I don't like the speed holes. I'm also wondering if there's a way I can get some like resin filled in there that's a solid color to kind of, so it has holes, but it's not see-through. I think that would be cool. I just see a lot of potential with this knife and what could be done in the modding world. So I'm thinking about sending this off to someone and have some fun a little artistic touch put on it and make it look super unique. But overall, the action as is good. It's just your thumb slips on this front flipper, and it's really annoying to me. As I described it to my viewers last time, it's kind of like walking on ice. You can do it, but it doesn't feel the best. It just doesn't have that good grip and assurance and knowing that you're gonna have a successful deployment every time of the blade. So if it wasn't for that, I would like it a whole lot more. As is, I still like it just based off the design alone. I think it's a fantastic design. But that's kind of it. I put it on there just mainly for aesthetics, and I do, for some reason, I have a real love-hate relationship with this knife. I even carry it sometimes, but I don't know. Wish that jimping was better. That's the Kizer Assassin. And real quick, I'm gonna unplug this stupid refrigerator in my office that just turned on. It's all noisy and loud. Okay. And we're back. Okay, now let's talk about the next one on the list, number 11, one of my all-time favorites, and I don't know how it got this low, and I think I know, but this is the CJRB not the Rhea, the Maileah, the CJRB Maileah, excuse me. So really the only reason this knife is so low on the list is because of its size. It's just too small to be a primary carry for me, but it's obviously still a fantastic front flipper. So I was kind of tossed on this, or torn on it, but I had a lot of other ones that I carry as a primary blade above this. So this is just on the list, guys. You guys know how much I love this. Probably thought it'd be higher up on the list, but I would recommend this knife all day. It's small. It's very small. It's like a 2.3 or 2.4 inch blade. But overall, it has great ergos. It has an excellent fidget factor. It's got a little liner lock. Blade falls shut very easily. And it's just very fun to fidget with. And an excellent little fifth pocket knife this is my favorite front flipping fifth pocket knife. This is actually my favorite fifth pocket knife of all time. If you guys watch my video, I think it's the top 10. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was top 10 best fifth pocket knives of all time. This was number 1, and in all honesty, when it came down to the decision-making process, it wasn't very hard. I really, really like this knife. It's balanced really well from ergonomics to action to aesthetics. The thumb studs are placed in the absolute perfect place to where you can do any type of deployment you'd like. But again, we're focused on that front flipping here, and it's crisp, it's snappy, it's just really damn good. So I'd highly recommend this. I've seen this available at plenty of places. It's like $40, $40 or $45. So very affordable and just a very attractive little piece, the CJRB Myleah. Next up, we're going to a special one here because this is my first front flipper. It was the one that really kind of turned the point for me of it flipped a switch that just really brought front flippers to the forefront for me. That is none other than the HEA Designs Hunter. And to be honest, guys, looking back at it, I don't know what drew me to this knife. This knife it's not one of the first knives I would look at and be like, oh, I really like the design of that. It's so different. At first I kind of thought it was ugly, and then it kept popping up. I kept seeing it, and I thought, well, I don't know why, but I'm gonna buy one. And some of it was because of the front flipper, because I've seen other people and heard other people talk about them. But this is a really good one. It's I think very easy to use. Has just more of just that kind of a, not sharp, but more of a pointy flipping top up here to where it's not rounded or anything. But it works very well because there's a lot to use up there. I mean, that's a pretty big chunk for your thumb to catch on, and it just kick right out. And it also has a very unique blade shape. Now, granted, may not be very hard to break this tip off, so you want to be careful with that. But outside of that dainty tip, it has a pretty darn slicey edge. It has very good quality of build, and overall I was very, very pleased with it. And when I got this knife and I figured out how to use it, it was the biggest fidget addictiveness. Fidget addictiveness, yeah, that doesn't really sound right, but there's that. I just couldn't stop. I couldn't put it down. You know, in the office, I was fidgeting with it. I found myself doing this while I was just, just thinking about things, and not that it really helped me think. I don't think there's anything that can help me think, but it was just fun to use. I really enjoyed it, and it got me turned into front flippers. So, no real special story, but that is kind of how it got started, was with this knife right here. So I had to have it on this list, and somewhat high up. It's just a very good piece. These are hard to find. It's more of a secondary market at this point. I don't think you can get them new anywhere. But again, I'm not really trying to sell knives, just trying to show you my favorites. So this is the HEA Designs Hunter, and if you can find one on the secondary market and you like front flippers, I'd highly recommend checking this out if it's one that floats your boat aesthetically. And just a really, really good one, HEA Designs Hunter. Next up, we have our other Civivi, and that is none other than, I probably don't even need to tell you guys, the Civivi McKenna. Not the Elementum. I actually called it the McKenna this time. But simple, but unique, but just really good. A nice, slim, ergonomic handle with a very, I don't want to say super unique blade, but it has kind of this, I guess it's probably called a Wharncliffe. It's probably what people would mostly consider it. Some people can look at it as like a slim sheep's foot. I think it is definitely a Wharncliffe. It has a flatter edge with that good tip there, so we'll probably call it a Wharncliffe. But it just has a very, very easy action. This is one of the front flippers that if you want to check a front flipper out, this is one of the ones I would recommend as a first front flipper. It's very affordable, it's light, carries well in the pocket, and you can just do a lot of really fun things with it. And again, it falls under that 3-inch blade rule that is really important for some of you guys. So it's just a really, really good option. It's one of those ones that you can deploy effortlessly. It catches a lot of eyes, and I think it's just really attractive. Again, this has the Damascus, which I do like on this model. Anything with just black and Damascus, and even the Civivi logo kind of mixes well with it. It has a nice tone to it, and it's just a good one. It's a really good one, and it's an affordable one. Some of these other ones are a little pricey. This guy comes in, I think, $60. So not too bad at all. An Elijah Isham design, which I always find to be pretty attractive and unique. There's a lot of knives out there, so it's nice to find one that kind of stands out from the rest of the crowd. And one that is very fidgety is always a plus too. So this one is the Civivi McKenna. It is number 9, and I would highly, highly recommend this one, especially if you're looking for your first front flipper. Next up at number 8, this is a rare one for me because, I'll just say it, I'm not a fan of this company, but I am a fan of this knife. This is the Boker Exskelibur, and it's the best thing Boker's ever made. And in all honesty, it's well, I can't even say it about this knife because it also had its Boker flaws. I had to have it replaced once. When I got this knife, the pivot screw was stripped. It was completely stripped. So I don't know how that happened, but it was Boker. So I wasn't super surprised. I will say their customer service took care of me. I called them, and they took it right back from me and sent me a brand new one that was being this one, and it's in good shape. So again, it was more Boker hassles, but they did take care of me, so I gotta say that. But this knife is really, really, really good in so many ways. It's by far, I mean, by a long ways, the slimmest knife on this video. It carries extremely well, and it's still titanium and S35 VN. So you have premium materials, a killer action on nylon washers. So yeah, the cheapest washers possible, and you have killer action. So that's kind of shocking, actually. But it feels really good in hand. It has very nice jimping up here that obviously works as the front flipper, but also doubles as a very nice place to put your thumb, and a very thin, slicey S35 VN blade. So yeah, I there's not many times I give Boker props, guys, but this is definitely one of them. I love this knife. I really do. There's you know, I being as thin as it is, and I don't think it would be the best heavy use knife for like certain EDC tasks, but just as like an office carry or a light EDC use knife, this would be phenomenal because it carries so well in the pocket. It's I think a rather stylish knife, a simple, dressy knife. It would pair well with pretty much anything you're wearing, and it's just good. It's just really good, especially if you like a 3.5-inch blade, which you all know I do, and it deploys effortlessly. It's very easy and very good to use. It's basically the exact opposite experience I've had with any other Boker knife. I really do like it. I wish it didn't have that massive Boker billboard on the blade. I really wish that just wasn't there. But other than that, that's literally the only thing I can really knock on this knife. The rest of it is fantastic. These are still available on Blade HQ, so if it's something that floats your boat, go check them out. But it is really, really good. It's really good. You always have that risk with Boker of, you know, what are you gonna get? Are you gonna get a quality piece, or are you going to get one that needs to be replaced like I did? So you kind of take that risk, but nonetheless, I like this knife that much. I still have it at number 8 on my list because it's just really, really, really good. So there's that. The Boker Exskelibur. Now, next up, we got back-to-back brands here, and we're going to start off with the Sun TS129. And I don't know why I spidey flicked that when this is a front flipper video, but here you go. There you go. But just an awesome design, blade design there. It's it's like a real good mix between a Wharncliffe and a sheep's foot. For any of you guys that don't know, the biggest difference between a Wharncliffe and a sheep's foot is that the Wharncliffe has a point at the end and the sheep's foot does not. It comes down. So I guess going off that definition, it's a Wharncliffe, but man, it really looks like a sheep's foot. But okay, we're gonna end that debate for this video. I'm sure it'll be back though, because for some reason I always feel the need to talk about that. But this is just a smooth knife. It is a knife made in China by Sun, but it feels like a ZT to me. I don't know why, it just does. I think it's the thickness in the handle and just the overall quality. It's really, really good, guys. If you've never had a Sun experience, you should probably check them out because they're pretty affordable. Even the higher end knives like this one, premium materials, M390, titanium micarta, or titanium and carbon fiber. I paid like, I don't even remember now, but it wasn't, I want to say it was like 130 or 140. Might even been a little less than that. I'd have to go back and look. I have a review up of this if you want to watch that. I'm sure I have the price listed on there. But overall, it's just an excellent front flipper. Again, a bigger blade that for me I always really appreciate, but it flips out really good. And this is one of my favorite blade designs on all my front flippers because it's such a useful blade. It's got a lot of cutting power to, you know, that big strong blade. Can power through a lot of work, and then you also have a very nice tip that is not super dainty with M390, so you know it's going to be strong. You could also do a lot of detail work and digging with that. So a pretty useful knife here all in all, and again, it has a very good front flipping action. I probably need to oil this one up again. It's been a while since I've put some of the nano lube in it. I usually put some nano lube in it and spray it with some type of like computer compressed air that you normally use for like keyboards and stuff. It works really well to get the oil all the way in every part of the knife without having to take it apart. So you don't always have to take your knife apart, which is really nice when I found that trick out. But overall, ergos are fantastic. The front flipping action is fantastic, and I would recommend this one all day long. This is the Sun TS129. Next up, one from Sun that I like slightly better. Actually, a little more than slightly. This is the Sun TS262. This is a Tepi Designs. It's a rather new design, and it fits the hand like a glove, and it has the sweetest little sheep's foot blade up here. Really like it. It almost reminds me of kind of like a barber. I can't think of the name of it, but it's about what a barber uses to shave you with. And I'm telling you right now, razor, duh, a barber's razor. But I tell you what, it really does. Let's see here if I can. Yeah, it's that sharp. It is hair splitting sharp with a M390 edge coming down to, I think I had it at 15 or 16 thousandths, maybe 17 thousandths. Regardless, screaming sharp. Excellent grind, excellent design, and of course, as we were mentioning, excellent front flipping action. You got the reach around all day, and then you also have, even as smooth as this is up here, I was worried I would have trouble deploying this blade with the lack thereof jimping, but it's actually very present when you go to put your finger on it, and it just flies right out, and it makes a really nice like thunking sound with that carbon fiber. It's great. I really like this knife a lot more than I thought I would. I wasn't sure if this would be a keeper or not, but when I got this, I did like it so much I kind of had to keep it just on the principle that it's a front flipper. It sounds great, it looks great, and it's a bigger knife, so it kind of fits my forte really well. Fits in my repertoire very nicely. Just a great one. It's a really good one. Again, it's a Tucson, so you got to play the eBay game most of the time. Some places, I think White Mountain Knives carries them sometimes. I don't know if they carry this exact brand. You'd have to go on their website and check, but nonetheless, it's just a fantastic piece, and I really like it a lot. Highly recommend this one. Definitely my favorite Tucson I've experienced so far, the Tucson TS262. All right, we're in our top 5. And top 5, we are going Kizer. You heard Kizer, you probably know what this is. This is the Kizer Genie. This has been on the channel a lot, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but it's light, it's thin, it's slender, it fits the hand well, it's got just one of the smoothest, most buttery actions on a front flipper I've personally ever experienced. Now, granted, I've never experienced the Gareth Bull Chamois or anything like that, but for a production front flipper, guys, I don't know how much I love this tab, but the actual smoothness of it overall, there's not many that are better than this one. I really do mean that. And this one is pretty affordable at $158, so it's one I'd highly recommend looking at. Also one that has a very nice design to it. I find it very attractive, and it's just good. It's just good. You got all sorts of different ways to fidget with the knife, but again, most importantly, that super smooth front flipping action. Recommend this one all day. This is the Kizer Genie. Next up, we went from 5 to 3 real super quick. No, not 5 to 3, because I have my number 1 knife up here, so we have 4. Sorry, I struggle counting sometimes. This here, at number 4, is the Booz Blades Smoke. Now, this one is, you cannot find this one anywhere new. You can find it on the secondary market, though, and it's going to run you anywhere from $200 to $220. But just an excellent design. Kind of has that steak knife look to it, but just very kind of an aggressively, a real sleek design. But more than anything, it was manufactured by WE Knives, so you know the quality is on point. And it has a very nice little flipper tab up there that is pretty easy to just put your thumb up and deploy the blade rather effortlessly. Very good design. If you guys like this design, and like I said, you can't get these new anymore, follow Booz Blades on Instagram, and they do have more runs that they come out with sometimes that they'll kind of have manufactured and then they'll sell them. So they make minis of this. I would think at some point they'll have another full-size run. They're just way too good of a knife not to. Again, I don't know that for a fact. I'm guessing, but I'm pretty confident in that guess that there will be more available at some point someday. I would think sometime this year. I'm sure he'll do another run of either minis or regular size. But this is fantastic. This is one that I had to hunt for a long time because I wasn't able to buy one of these new either. So I had to kind of track it down on the Reddit market. Got one off Reddit, and it's never leaving my collection because it was so hard to find, and it is that good. Just really like it. The Booz Blades Smoke. Next up, we got a newer one, and this one is kind of a tie almost, because this is the WE Knives Black Void Opus. I really wasn't sure to put this one in front of the Booze Blade smoke or not, because I really do love that smoke. I'm probably going to consider this somewhat of a tie, because this is really good. It's just so new. I really haven't had it long enough to probably say I like it better than the smoke, but I like it every bit just as much. Very unique design from Justin Lundquist. Very effortless deployment. Nice, sleek. The tab is pretty much not there. It's just some jimping up here. It's kind of like I think they call it the Mohawk. But you just put your thumb on it and twist it, and the blade flies right out. Nice little gentleman's carry for a front flipper too. Under 3 inches, I think at like 2.875, something like that. And fits very well in the pocket. Carries deep enough. I mean, there's not going to be much sticking out. And at that point, with that much sticking out, for as well as anyone else knows, it could very well be a pen with a clip like that. So kind of nice, discreet little carry. And again, just quality materials from WE. Flawless execution of the action and design. So all in all, a fantastic offering from WE and a design by Justin Lundquist, the Black Void Opus. Number 2, this one really came out of nowhere for me, and I absolutely love this one. This is the WingManEDC Tom Mayo MTNT Mach 3. It's a mouthful, but it is a fantastic knife. Every attention to detail was paid in this knife. It was from the proprietary screws, which I usually don't like, but it also comes with its awesome own little tool to take the knife apart with. So that's always pretty awesome. You just don't want to lose that tool, 'cause then you got a problem. But it's just the simplest blade shape ever, but again, the grind was nailed. It's a pretty thick stock. Nah, not super thick, but, kind of middle of the road thick. And it comes down to a pretty screaming edge there. I think I had it at 16 thousandths, which is very, very good. It has a very nice pocket clip, and I really like this. It's kind of like a stone washed, but still has its own little sheen to it on the titanium handle. The finish it's very nice. It's nice and different, but it's not too much. The whole knife blends together very well. The finishes from the satin and the grind lines to this smoky, dusty type of stone wash they have on the finish of the titanium handles. Just really, really good. A very smooth knife when it comes to the lock bar. You don't have any lock bar stick. It's literally just a glassy transition from closing it. There's no lock bar stick, and I mean, you feel absolutely nothing, which is something you don't have that. A lot of knives, you feel that transition when you're breaking the lock bar away. Not this one. This one is just glassy smooth. Extremely, just an excellent build. One of my favorite knives, one of my favorite front flippers I've handled in a very long time. It took a lot to knock this knife out of the #1 spot. And it did. This is a definitely second, but man, it's still amazing. Absolutely amazing. The WingManEDC Tom Mayo MTNT Mach 3. Now, what would be so good to knock this knife out of the #1 spot? Because like I said, it would take a lot to knock this one out of the #1 spot, and that did indeed absolutely happen. And you guys may know, this is the Pena X series front flipper. It took me so long to get one of these. This was absolutely a grill knife. It's not the most expensive grill knife ever. A lot of people, grill knives are usually more on the pricey side that people can't afford. This was a grill knife because of just how hard it is to get one. And I finally got one. And this is it. This is the Apache version. And it was everything that it was made out to be. The jimping is fantastic. The micarta is extremely good quality. And the whole feel in hand is really, I guess I can't say perfect, but it's really, really, really good. Fits in my hand very well. Also, still a very simple design. This is a very kind of just an extremely traditional design of like a slip joint that he turned in to a front flipper that is just, the detent is dialed in. I mean, this detent is on point. I could say it's perfect because it's just, usually detents on front flippers are a little weak because they want to make it easy for you to get the blade out, which I think is a downfall of a lot of them. This one has a nice crisp detent and it just feels perfect. I wish he would come out with a slightly bigger, a longer blade, maybe one like a 3.25, I think would be awesome. But even this, as it is, at I think a 2.875 blade length, is just phenomenal. It really is. I love everything about it. Another one that's never leaving the collection, and I'll probably try and get my hands on one more because I like them so much. A different blade shape, of course. He has a dogleg jack that's coming out that is also looking really, really attractive to me. But Enrique Pena does a lot of good work. His designs and quality are spectacular. Again, the trick sometimes is getting one. But when you do, if you do, I can guarantee you will not be disappointed. They are, in my opinion, the best front flippers out there. They're just dialed in. You can find some like the WingManEDC and the WingMan's Black Void Opus that will be very, 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 very good. Make you very happy, but I would recommend, if you do love front flippers, you got to try and get your hands on one of these Pena X series. They are that good. Just my opinion, just my 2 cents, but I wanted to throw it out there. And that's the list, guys. Let me know what you think. Is there any other front flippers that you really like that you would put on this list that are that good? Let me know. Look forward to hearing your thoughts and opinions. And until the next one, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, great rest of your day. If it's the weekend, I'm not exactly sure what day I'm going to post this. Regardless, hope you guys have a great one. Until the next one, I'm out.